Poetry Help, composed upon Westminster Bridge, William Wordsworth. Summary of the poem. The speaker is standing on the Westminster Bridge, looking out at the city. In the first 8 lines of the poem, he describes all that he sees from his vantage point. He praises the scene and declares that there is nothing more fair in this world than the scene that is in front of his eyes. He further says that if a person passes that place without pausing to look at the scene has a dull soul. In other words, the speaker says that everyone who passes by that spot must look at the scene. It is the morning time and the silent city looks beautiful. According to the speaker, the city is very clean, without pollution, and it stretches up to the fields and to the sky. In the following 6 lines of the poem, the speaker adds that the sun over the city shines more beautifully than even on nature. He declares that he has never felt such deep calm. He personifies the river and says that it glides along at a slow pace the river chooses. In the concluding lines of the poem, the speaker describes that the people seem to be asleep and the city's heart is still. Form of the poem. The poem is a perfect Italian sonnet. It is written in iambic pentameter, having 10 syllables in each line. The rhyme scheme of the poem is A, B, B, A, B, B, A, C, D, C, D, C, D. Critical analysis. The poem was inspired by a real-life experience. William Wordsworth was on a trip to France with his sister Dorothy Wordsworth. He had an experience on July 31, 1802. It is quite surprising that William Wordsworth seems to have been digressed from his normal course of praising nature. In this poem, he says that earth has not anything to show more fair, whereas in most of his other poems nature seems to be supreme. He describes the beauty of the man-made things like ships, towers, domes, theatres, and temples. It is only in the 7th line of the poem the poet begins to describe the influence of nature. He writes the city is open to the fields and to the sky. The poem has not shown any conflict between the city and nature. He describes the city as clean, pollution-free. Generally, the poets described the sun shining on the natural objects, but in this poem William Wordsworth surprises the readers by saying that the sun has never shone more beautifully even on natural things. The poet personifies the entire scene by making the sun, the river, the houses, and the entire city alive. He ends his description by giving a symbolic heart to the city and adds that the heart is still. A city is often described as a place which is made up of constructed buildings, roads, and other man-made things. But in this poem the poet has given life to the city by personifying it and raising it higher than nature and natural objects. When the people in the city are awake and they get involved in their daily routine, the heart of the city begins to beat. But in the poem the early morning scene presents the houses as asleep and consequently the heart of the city is still.